Welcome to TMOTC for March 2026, where we recap what we did on this channel for the past month and also maybe give a couple little hints as to what we do in the next month, which would be April. Good channel for good month for the channel. It was a lot of cleaning up and doing stuff and progressing in games that we had started, I think, back in February. I think I had even mentioned that in the last TMOTC. But yeah, let's start off with talking about Yakuza. We finished the finale of Yakuza, Yakuza Remastered, Yakuza 3 Remastered. I ended up enjoying it. It was obviously going to be the roughest Yakuza game we've played here on the channel compared to like Yakuza 0 and then 1 and 2 Kiwami. But I kind of liked the story. I thought it was kind of chill. I kind of liked I mentioned a bunch. I really like the orphanage time. I really like the time helping the kids at the orphanage. Seeing that side of Kiryu is super endearing. Helping the kids at the orphanage who struggle or have these problems, and obviously they're orphaned, so you're like, oh, of course I want to help and help the kids do whatever they need to do to accomplish whatever wacky things they want to do. I also kind of liked the Kiryu getting pulled into the back into Kamurocho and the Yakuza business stuff. Still don't like the combat, moment-to-moment gameplay of combat, whatever. And in this one, it was even rougher because enemies just love to guard everything you do. So you're just trying to punch through defenses or get around them. And I mean, it is what it is. It means to an end kind of thing for me. Slowly and steadily, we're slowly working our way towards those RPG turn-based spin-offs. Or not spin-offs, but main entries. Just got to get through a few more games for the Yakuza series, slowly but steadily. Also on the channel, we spun this past month the Wheel of Backlog. The precious Wheel of Backlog made its return, and this time it brought up the Shape-Shifting Detective, which I think last year we played an FMV game called the Maddening Curious Case of Dr. Decker or something like that, and made by the same team, and I ended up liking that one not much at all. I thought it was kind of disjointed, and it was what it was. But Shapeshifting Detective ended up finishing it in one sitting, which I think was a good time. Ended up beating it in just about 3 hours or so. And again, FMV type experience, a little murder mystery. I think I looked it up afterwards beating it, but there's like a couple different endings you could get based on who the ultimate whodunit person, whatever, can like be randomly drawn, I think was the case, but I ended up winning. Spoiler alert for the ending of that video. But yeah, just, a little goofy, a little fun, a little campy, but that's kind of like what I like in my FMV games in this nature. So yeah, the Shape-Shifting Detective, while not perfect, it's about what I expect from an FMV game from this team specifically. We also did another one-off for a game that's been on the backlog. I didn't spin the wheel, but just ended up plucking it off the wheel for a game called Adios. Just under about like an hour and a half, kind of one sitting, another one-off kind of game. Had some interesting moments, obviously a very sad story. I won't go too much into it spoilery wise here. I remember after finishing it, I read some reviews or people talking about the game that it's, except for like a couple moments, it's kind of like a game that maybe would have been better off told, or could have been told better, maybe even outside of the game like experience, whether that be like an animation or a short movie or whatever the case is, a short story, whatever it is. I thought it was fine. Like I said, there was a couple really touching moments and a couple moments that really tugs at your heart, but it was interesting. Like I said, it's something that's been on the backlog forever, and I just finally was like, I could just pull this off and finish this in one sitting. So it was nice to finally check that off. Speaking of one-offs, we did a handful, I think 3 very quick games throughout the month of March that we finished in like under 30 minutes or so for each. The first one was a game that ended in a certain amount of clicks. We also did a game called Ruin Chapter 0, which was just a bizarre little under 10-minute experience where you're like, what did I just experience after 10 minutes? And then also a recession indicator stream After last year casting away Higurashi, spending 2 years on the channel doing Higurashi related stuff, was actually pulled back technically into the universe of Higurashi with Rika Furude Simulator 2025. Trying to roll all sixes and save Rika. Yeah, and that went about as well as you could probably imagine as far as RNG goes. We continued with Raging Loop. Raging Loop being a mainstay on the channel now for a couple months, slowly but surely plugging along. I bet at this point I'm like, my guess is like 2/3 of the way through this game, but I don't actually know. It's kind of hard to guess. I could be a lot closer to the ending. I could be a lot further away. Who knows? I definitely want to finish that game in April though. So if we are not close to the end, or if we start getting into the last like week and a half or so of April and we haven't finished yet, be prepared, be ready for a lot of Raging Loop streams, or bigger Raging Loop streams, as we try to like plug away and finish that, because I don't want that. I'm ready, not like I want it to end so soon or whatever, but I'm kind of ready for seeing how it does wrap up kind of thing, and I don't want to lingering around too long, especially for future stuff I've got planned for the channel. We started and finished Ender Lilies, a game from 2021, I want to say, Metroidvania type experience. I say it time and time again, almost like a broken record. I think Metroidvania games, even over the last few years, the genre and the feeling to play them have increased so dramatically, and what like people sit down to and want to experience in a Metroidvania like experience. So even this one coming in 2021, it ended up being a very solid game. I finished the whole game in 5 streams, I want to say. So not a super long series, very chill. I really like the atmospheric music, paired really well with the visuals and the mood of the game. And as concept-wise, I think it was really cool. It's a cool concept to, you're not physically fighting any of the enemies along the way. You're like summoning these purified spirits that allow a lot of like customization to your different equipment slots and everything. Cool little traversal things. I like the idea of certain spirits, like bosses, that you'd be becoming both an offensive weapon you could use, and then also gives you an unlock for movement, a staple in Metroidvania type experiences. A few minor gripes here and there through the experience, but overall a very, very solid game in my opinion. And then towards the end of this month, just in the last couple of days, we started a game called Screamer that came out just less than a week ago as of time of recording, and I think by the time this goes up, even less than a week ago. Screamer, it's like a French, I think it's French development team. I may be wrong about that, but French anime racing tournament arc game. It's very interesting. I'm only a couple streams in. It's very difficult as far as, I say very difficult. I may just be bad at the game. But yeah, it's got a lot of systems to get a hold of and really like try to master the racing part. So I'm kind of bad at it, and hopefully I'll get slowly better and better. But it's worth it because they're building like this very interesting story. It's really a high production as far as like the little cutscenes you get that are fully animated are really interesting. A really interesting, I keep saying interesting, a really interesting group of characters. That all have these different motivations going into this racing tournament thing. Very cool concepts, kind of fun, doesn't take itself too seriously. There's some serious moments, obviously. So far, I'm very early into the game, but also some goofy characters, some very funny little jokes and stuff. The racing looks really nice, and again, I kind of like that it's giving me a little bit of pushback, and it's not just a breeze going through the actual main gameplay that I'm having. And like I said, I'm probably, as of recording, I think rough estimate about 25% through the story or whatever, and I think just based on how it visually looks in the menus, but yeah, very, very, I'll say it for the millionth time here, interesting kind of game thing. It's very much structured like you get a little cutscene that's animated, you do a little race thing, you'll get like then like a fully voiced visual novel like expansion on the story kind of thing. And like I said, production on those, all 3 of those parts all seem really, really good. Like I said, in a visual novel type thing, I wasn't even expecting like everything to be fully voiced, and even something like that's really cool. So we'll continue playing that through April as well. We just started it, so expect a lot of streams of that through April. I think that does mostly, again, I probably missed a couple things here and there for the month of March. You just have to kind of go and find them. As far as teasers for April, so I keep saying on the live channel on Twitch, and I'm trying to back up some streams because middle-ish of April, I'll be gone for like almost a week, probably a little less. Just traveling for a friend's wedding. So there will be a time I should back up enough streams on Twitch, doing live streams so that I have stuff still running on the actual YouTube VOD channel through that time that I'm gone. But live streams won't be happening for like I said, like 5 or 6 days or so. So that kind of creates like this little break in the schedule as far as like my mind scheduling goes. But we're gonna get a lot of Screamer. You're gonna get more Raging Loop, like I said. There is my annual, now third annual, vinyl / music of 2025 video that I'm gonna want to record. I've been doing that, I think, last 2 years, and this will be the third year I do it. I'm gonna actually record the footage hopefully tomorrow. I don't think I have the energy to do it today, but I'll do it sometime tomorrow, which is basically just showing off all the vinyl that I collected over the last year, which has now become an expensive and but fun hobby of mine. And those end up usually just being me talking about those, what I've got, talking about my favorite music on those records, and then just I end up talking about just a lot about music over the past year, basically, on those videos. I don't know how interested people are in those videos, but it's something that I just like to do personally. And I think this year I thought this was going to be a low year for me, but then things started coming out, and I was like, I gotta scoop this up. I think I'll have like 30 plus different records to show and everything, so it'll probably end up being a beefy stream. So like I said, ideally I record the footage for it and have it edited like tomorrow or something, and then the actual stream where I'll go over it will be, hopefully I do that before my trip, because then I would love to get that done. And I usually do it like first week of like April. I checked the other years that I've done it. I also am, as far as visual novels go, I don't want to tackle anything too big until Raging Loop finishes, but there's a smaller visual novel experience that I've been toying in my mind with starting concurrently with the back half of Raging Loop, especially since it's an episodic visual novel, maybe even just starting like the chapter 0 of it for some time. I've been wanting to start this for some time, and I might want to get that at least started slowly. Again, not overcrowding Raging Loop and still mostly focusing on Raging Loop, but just starting a slight visual novel experience. So we'll see about that. If I do that, hopefully that's at least chapter 0, again, prior to me leaving for the trip. And then speaking of vinyl, they're based on, this might be a hint for you. It's only the bottom half of it, so that's your best hint. If you could see it, maybe go, if you can't tell what that is based on the one that I'm pointing at right there, maybe if you really, really, really care, you could go find a previous vinyl video I did, because I've talked about that. But that's a sequel, technically a sequel, I guess, to a video game I played on the channel 2 or 3 years ago. One of my favorite series on the channel that I did, and one of my favorite, a super great game, but the stream experience and the series here on the channel, I think, was one of my favorites, if I think about it loosely. Think action RPG, highly lauded, regarded game that I'm finally like, I really need to play this one in the series. But to be completely honest, I probably won't now, and I was waiting on finishing Yakuza before doing it. That one, I keep talking about things I want to do before the trip. That one's definitely probably going to be back half of starting in April, like post trip. So yeah, don't expect that anytime super soon, but it'll be like, ideally we start that towards 3rd or 4th week of April. Now that Yakuza's done, speaking of Yakuza, I meant to say, I'm not even going to edit it, but I meant to say in Yakuza, there will probably be a couple, 2 to 3 more, I would assume. Maybe more. I don't know how I'll handle it. But like Yakuza 3 remastered streams as we try to like clean up post game, like just sub stories. I'm still kind of dead set on trying to knock out all the sub stories I can, but we'll see how that goes over the next 2 streams of that or so. So that'll also be in April. And I think then that's pretty much as far as what April's got. Again, obviously there will be random other things. There is one game that is coming out in April. I'm pretty sure the release date is April. It might get pushed. Like, I would love to start it at release, but just in my head, especially with talking about that game, I don't know. It depends. It kind of depends on, release and what opinions and reviews kind of show of it. But I was kind of interested in playing it at release, so I don't want to, but I might not get around to it this month, which would be unfortunate, but just scheduling wise, it might be a little harder for me. So that might be like something I tackle in a few months' time. So definitely don't want to say what the title is, other than it is a game that comes out in April, and I'm like vaguely interested in what it ends up shaping up to be. But I just don't know if I'll have the time or bandwidth. Especially, like I said, I'll be gone for a week in April, so that just takes up possible streaming time, right? So yeah, that's I think it. Oh man, we passed the 15-minute mark. That's a long this month on the channel, TMOTC. Thanks for watching. As always, I know the lighting is always really bad. Even like when I'm recording on OBS, like the lighting ends up even being really bad. But like I got like my window open. It's just a gray cloudy day, I think too. It makes it even worse. But yeah, thanks for watching. Just completely lost my train of thought. I got distracted. Until another stream or the next TMOTC. I imagine that, what if there's like someone who only watches this month's on the channel? Now that I've done 3 in a row, like what if this is all they watch? They don't experience anything else. I like to think there's someone like that.